I didn't do it. It was you. It was you. You farted. I didn't fart, but we don't really need to talk about that. But we do need to talk about our program today. So thank you for joining me for another high touch, high tech lesson. And today's lesson is called Gas and Go. I might have put it the other way because I went to go gas out, but remember, it wasn't me, it was totally you. But anyway, we don't need to talk about that. We do gotta talk about what materials we do need. So the bag to grab is this one. It's the bag that has a cup, some bags of powder, a straw, bag of glue, paper towel, among other things. That is what we are going to be needing. Aside from that, these are not included that for sure we're going to be needing, which are 2 cups of water, a large bowl, the wider the better, okay, so some sort of large bowl, large empty bowl, some measuring spoons, get yourself a tablespoon. I have here 1/4 of a teaspoon and 1/2 of a teaspoon, and some sort of water bottle, and I have it about halfway full of water, and I already kind of took off the plastic wrapping so that we can clearly see what's inside of there, but get yourself some sort of bottle halfway filled like this. And now this isn't included in the bag, but we did use some pipettes in our previous experiment, so if you still have this lying around, the pipette, then let's go ahead and use that. If not, don't worry about it, okay? So now that we have all these things, let's begin, all right? And so today we're gonna talk all about gas.
What is gas? What's the gas? What is a gas? What is gas?
Great question. We're gonna play around with a whole bunch of experiments that have to do with gas. But first, before we go into that, the world that we live in is made up of a whole bunch of things called matter. And it comes in 3 different flavors, or as we call it, states. Okay, like we have solids, like a rock, things that are usually hard, right? Like a rock, a wall, a table, a car, those are all solids. Then you got yourself liquids, things that you could usually drink, like water, orange juice, milk, right? Those are all liquids. And gases, right? Like the breath that we breathe in, right? And the breath that we breathe out. Right? That is a type of gas. Also the fart that you did, not me, you, that was you. But we're not gonna talk about that, right? But in any case, all of these are different types of matter, and they're actually made up of super tiny things called molecules. And especially gas, the molecules in gas have so much energy that they're constantly running away from each other. And you could see this clearly, especially when you have some gas inside of a container, like a bag. If you have some gas inside of a bag, zip it up, you'll see that it evenly fills up the bag because they're trying to stay away from each other because of all of that energy. And so in our first experiment, we're gonna kind of see how that works, but we're gonna first mix a solid with a liquid to make a gas inside of a bag. So here we go. Let's make some gas. Bags. We're gonna make some gas inside of the bag. And these are the parts that we're going to be needing. We need the paper towel, we need all of the measuring spoons, which are the tablespoon, the 1/2 of a teaspoon, and the 1/4 of a teaspoon. We need our cup of water, these 2 bags of powder, one that has a red sticker and the blue sticker, and the little cup that came inside of your bag. This was included. So this little cup came from inside of the bag, and we need the bag itself. All right. So before we do the gas bag experiment, since we're going to be using these 2 powders for another experiment later on, let's just set that up just really quick, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to use the 1/4 of a teaspoon to put 1 scoop of this into there and 1 scoop of this vitamin C into there as well. So let's just do that, get it set up for our last experiment, and just get that out of the way. Because we're going to use the remainder of it for the current experiment that we're going to be doing right now. So go ahead and take the bag with the red sticker, take the 1/4 of a teaspoon and fill that up with some of the vitamin C from the red sticker bag. Pour it right in there. There's 1. Okay. And then same thing with the one with the blue sticker. This is baking soda. Open that up. Get some of that. Another 1/4 of a teaspoon, just 1 scoop of each. And that's it. So this one we don't need in this experiment, but we're going to be needing it in our last one, but we just wanted to get it ready because we're going to use the rest of this for the current experiment we're doing. So whatever you have inside of here, make sure you put it in a place where you don't accidentally knock it over. So you want to be very careful with this because we still need everything that's inside of here, but let's move it to the side. Okay, so there it is, right over there, ready for our last experiment. But now we can get started in doing our gas bag experiment. So what we could do here first is we are going to be taking the water, some of the water, and putting it inside of this bag. Okay, so as a matter of fact, before we do the water, let's put in some of the powder first. Okay, so we want to take the bag with the red sticker, and this time we're going to be using the 1/2 of a teaspoon. So we just want 1 scoop of that 1/2 a teaspoon. Okay, get that in there, and once you get that inside of your teaspoon, 1/2 a teaspoon, just go ahead and pour that in there. And the next step would be to get some of the water and put it inside. So how much water do we need? We need 6 scoops of the tablespoon. So basically 6 tablespoons. So go ahead and get your water, get your tablespoon, and put it all inside of there. Count to 6, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right. So it's a good idea if you just kind of mix that around a little bit. I just gently squeeze it like this. Okay, just move it back and forth. If you need to, just be careful not to spill. Hold on to it nice and tight, but just kind of mix it like that. All right. So that one is ready. All right. So we want to set up the next thing. So just in case it's gonna spill, we're gonna zip this up. We're just gonna zip it up. All right. Then the next step is we're gonna put some baking soda inside of this paper towel. So first thing you wanna do is grab your paper towel, open it up all the way. You'll see that there are 3 folds here, or rather 2 folds, right? It has 3 different parts. And once it's completely open, like how you see here, then take the baking soda and put all of it right in the middle of this paper towel. So just pour it all out. There you go. And after you do that, then we're gonna fold it inwards like this. You see there's already a fold there. Just fold it inside there. And then same thing on this side, you wanna fold it inward like this. But not only that, we also wanna fold the outsides of this long piece. So from the bottom over here, and then this one right on top of it. And this is good. So we got the baking soda in there nice and ready. And we also have the vitamin C in here nice and ready. So when you remember the powder, it wasn't really a liquid. It didn't move like water. It was more of a solid, right? So we got a solid here, we got a liquid here, and we're gonna mix them together. But as a result, it's gonna make a gas. And just like how I said, the molecules inside of the gases have so much energy that they're always constantly running away from each other. So once the gases are in here, you're gonna see that it's gonna fill it up nice and even. So here we go. And once you put it in here, basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna shake it up for about a few seconds, but keep it away from your face because you don't want it to pop accidentally in your face. So don't keep it right next to your face. You wanna keep it away from you so it doesn't pop on you, right? So all you need to do is just pick up the paper towel, be careful not to spill anything, and then we're gonna put it in there. Before you shake, zip it up. And what I like to do is I like to put my hands on the bottom, see that? And then I like to move it forwards and backwards like this a few times. Okay, so we're gonna do that, just forwards and backwards. So go back, you can shake vigorously, just forwards and backwards, a few more seconds. And after it's mixing, and let's see what happens. Whoa, do you see those bubbles? Whoa, maybe let's shake it a little bit more. Shake it a little bit more. Whoa. So we made ourselves some bubbles, but you can also see that my bag has began to fill up a little bit with some air, right? And that air, when I squeeze it, it's still evenly spreading apart inside of that bag, because remember, the gases, the molecules in the gases are very energetic. They have a lot of energy that they're always trying to stay away from each other. But here we got ourselves our little gas bag by mixing our solid with our liquid to make our gas. And it all came from the bubbles that we got from inside of there, from the reaction. Well, now that we know what a gas is, we are now going to see how we use a gas to make something called foam.
What is a foam?
What is foam?
What's a foam? What is foam?
Great question. I thought you would never ask. Well, simply put, foam is just when you get some gas bubbles trapped inside of a liquid. Do you guys know what a bubble is?
A gas trapped in a liquid. A gas trapped in a liquid. A gas trapped in a liquid.
A gas trapped in a liquid.
So whenever you get a little bit of gas trapped inside of a liquid, you got yourself a bubble. You guys know what bubbles look like. But sometimes they pop, right? But if it doesn't pop, and if it stays there for a longer period of time, a very long period of time, then it becomes foam. All right? So in our next few experiments, we're going to see what this foam really looks like. Now we're going to be playing with some foam, and we're going to see what that really looks like. And there is two experiments we're going to do here, but for the first one, these are what we're going to be needing. We need the bottle that's halfway full with water, and we need the bag of soap and a pair of scissors. These are the things that we're going to be needing for this. And so first, we're going to see some foam going on inside of this bottle. Okay, now remember, foam is just when gas bubbles get trapped inside of a liquid. Here we got a liquid, but we don't really see any bubbles. So how can we see some bubbles? Well, if you shake your bottle, you'll start to see some bubbles. They quickly disappear, but at the very least, you'll see some bubbles. So just grab your bottle that's halfway full of water and just shake it. And if you take a look at it, you could kind of see those bubbles. If I stop, you could also see the bubbles there, but they don't really last that long. Remember, the difference between that and foam is foam lasts a lot longer. So how can we make those gas bubbles trapped in there a lot longer? You use some soap. So let's go ahead and open that soap bag. And guess what? There's another bag. Wow, that's amazing. Just kidding. Anyway, we're gonna take that little bit of that soap, and the way we're gonna do this is we're just gonna cut a little corner of this soap bag with our scissors so that we can squeeze it out. And we're gonna put that soap inside of here. Now you don't need a lot. Now don't use all of it because we'll need some of that soap in our next experiment. So we just need like a few drops of this soap into there. So just kind of squeeze it out nice and slowly, and that's good. You really don't need that much. Okay, so still keep some of the soap inside of here. As long as you put a little bit inside of there, it should already do the job. Okay, so now we put a little bit of soap, close that up. Even me just shaking it a bit, you could already start seeing some foam and some of the bubbles staying there. But now this time, shake it vigorously, shake it a lot. Let's see what's gonna happen. Whoa, that's a lot of foam. That's what foam is, guys. The bubbles aren't popping right away. They're staying a little bit longer, and that's what foam is. Gas bubbles trapped inside of a liquid. So here's an example of some foam. All we did was we just put a little bit of soap inside of there, and you still got the water on the bottom, but these gas bubbles are trapped. They're stuck in there. Eventually, of course, they're gonna pop, but at the very least, we get a sense of what foam looks like. Now that we did this, let's go into our next experiment where we're gonna see a little bit more these foam by doing our cup foam experiment. So this time, grab your cup of water, and for my cup of water here, I have it filled about halfway. You don't need to be precise, but just fill it up about halfway. And we're also going to be needing our straw, okay? And We also still need our bag of soap, and that's basically it, right? And so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna blow inside of here. We're gonna take this straw and we're gonna put it inside. So we got ourselves a hole right here on the edge for sure. That way, you know, we don't accidentally swallow. So we're gonna put this inside of the cup and we're going to blow, not suck in, okay? And the side that we want to have close to our lips is the hole. So we don't want the hole on the other side. Okay, we want the hole on the side that you're gonna be putting your mouth on like so. Okay, so you're gonna be blowing out. Now, please, please, please remember, we're not drinking, okay? So we're not gonna drink this, especially when we put the soap in. You don't wanna drink it, it's gonna taste disgusting. So don't drink. It's not the same thing that you usually do with a straw. We're not gonna drink, you're gonna blow out like this. Like that. Try that with me, just a few times, ready? Yeah, that's what you're doing. Same thing with this. Put your mouth on it and blow. And you see, we got some bubbles, but the bubbles didn't stay, meaning we didn't make some foam. So how do I do that? Do you guys remember what I did with the bottle earlier? Added some soap. So let's take our soap, squeeze the rest of the soap inside of there, right? And that's good. Okay, and now you can kind of take your straw, mix it around a little bit, okay? And we're gonna blow. Now that it has soap, don't drink it. It's gonna be disgusting. So again, not drinking in, you're gonna blow out, okay? So just hold your straw, make sure your lips are on, and blow. Ready? Look at that! I got foam! Yeah, that's pretty cool. And they're not popping since the gas bubbles are trapped inside of this liquid. This is foam. And a pretty cool thing you can do is you can make a bubble city like this. This is what I like to call a bubble city. Or you can make a gigantic bubble too. Guess how you do that? Take your straw, but instead of putting it all the way down into the water, like this, you put it somewhere in the middle and you blow very gently, like this. It's popping. At the very least, you're able to see that it's getting pretty big. I'm pretty sure you're getting a lot better luck than I am. But in any case, you can do one of those two things. Play around with this, make your bubble city. The way you do that, just take your straw, go all the way to the bottom when it's in the water completely and blow. Or you can make a giant bubble just by, instead of putting it all the way in the bottom, just put it somewhere inside of there and blow. Oh, that one was pretty big, right? Yeah, you can just play around with that because we got some foam. And while you're doing this, make sure that you're not covering the hole because that's what's keeping it from you drinking this, just in case it accidentally happens. So don't cover that tiny hole. And that's the whole point of today's experiment. We got ourselves our foam. Guess what? There's a lot of different types of foam, even at your house. As an example, when you open up a soda, guess what happens? Some bubblies come out, which is a type of foam. Even what you sit on, what you sleep on, the cushions, the pillows, the bed, that's a type of foam, okay? We call that polyurethane. Yeah, and so we use all sorts of different types of foam, even in the kitchen. The sponge that we use, that's a type of foam, right? Even the insulation that we have inside of our home to keep things hot or cold, okay? That is made up of a foam. Even inside of the helmet, that's made up of foam as well. Even when we're packaging things, we use some packing foam to protect our items. There's tons of different things that we use on a regular basis that are just made up of foam. But if you really think about it, remember that foam is just gas bubbles trapped inside a liquid. But does your bed look like a liquid? No, it doesn't. But it certainly did start off as a liquid with a whole bunch of gas bubbles trapped in it. And then now we got our cushiony stuff like the bed, the pillow, and the cushions, right? So now that we know that, we are gonna make ourselves our very own polyurethane foam. Then let's make our polyurethane foam. Kind of like a rubber foam, a little bit. Now, what we're going to be needing here are a pair of scissors, a cup of water, a measuring cup, not just like a random cup, a measuring cup, meaning I used a measuring cup of water and I poured it inside of here. That's what I meant by a cup. This is just about 8 ounces if you are curious. Just about, it doesn't need to be precise, just about 8 ounces. Then we need the green sticker bag, which has the borax. We need this bag of glue, the pipette. Hopefully, if you guys still have a pipette lying around from the previous experiments, then just go ahead and use that. If you don't worry, it's not absolutely necessary. But we do need the stick that came inside of the bag. Now here is what I did in the first experiment. We prepped this with what was inside of the red and the blue sticker. We took a 1/4 teaspoon of the vitamin C from the red sticker, and we took a 1/4 teaspoon of the baking soda in the blue sticker, and we already put that inside. That's what I did in my first experiment, if you saw that. Okay, but yeah, we already prepped that. We don't really need these bags, but I just wanted to show you. And we need some sort of large bowl. Okay, so the wider the bowl, the better it is. All right, so these are all we are going to be needing. So first things first, we got to take care of the borax and the water. All right, so let's go ahead and take the large bowl. We're going to put all the water inside of there. So this is again 1 measuring cup, not a random cup, 1 measuring cup, about 8 ounces of water. Put inside of the bowl, just like that. And after you do that, just go ahead and take the bag with the green sticker, which is the borax, and go ahead and open it up and pour it all inside of the large bowl. So there you go, open it up, pour it out. And once you do that, then we're gonna take our stick, just mix it up pretty well. Okay, just mix this really well. And we're going to be mixing this with everything else that we have over there, and eventually it's gonna make a really interesting foam-like thing. Ooh. All right. And you could take your time mixing this because we really want this solution to be very saturated, as we call it. Really want the borax to be all over the water in all the parts, get it everywhere. Just by mixing it a little bit longer, usually. All right, but anyway, I think that's good enough. Now, next thing we're going to be doing is we are going to be taking what was inside of here, which was the vitamin C, the baking soda, and mix it with the glue. But before you put the glue in, it would be good if you kind of shake this around a little bit, mixing those. Even if you take your stick, the dry part of the stick, just kind of mix around. I know it's not really much to mix, but you just kind of want to mix the baking soda with the vitamin C and let it all be inside of there together like that, okay? Once you do that just for a bit, then we're gonna take the glue and put it inside of there. Now, just as we did with the soap, we're gonna cut a little corner and squeeze it all out. But in order to do that, you gotta squeeze the glue out of the way. Okay, so you gotta squeeze one of the corners so that the glue's out of the way. Then we take our scissors and cut a little piece of the corner there. That's good. And then we're gonna squeeze all of it out. Now, as usual, we want to kind of close off the top so the glue doesn't go anywhere. So I'm just squeezing the top so it goes only to the bottom, and squeeze the rest out. See that? And everything comes out nice and easy. You could keep twisting the top too. That way it really forces everything to go to the bottom. And keep on squeezing it. And that is good. Here we go. We got our glue out there now. And so we're just gonna mix those two powders along with our glue together, and something really weird is gonna happen. Okay, let's see. So I'm just gonna mix this. Just keep on mixing. Make sure you get the bottom and make sure you get the corners, all of that powder. We really wanna mix it with the glue and mix it for a few seconds until it becomes very frothy. Look at that. Do you see? starting to rise just a bit, right? And you just kind of really want to make sure you got all of those powder on the bottom. Look at that, it's like almost like whipped cream. It's kind of cool. Already, it's starting to make a bit of a foam here, but we're gonna solidify this a little bit by putting it inside of our borax solution over here. And the way I like to describe it is kind of like cooking. You cook one side of the pancake, wait a little bit, right? Then you flip it over, you cook the other side of the pancake. That's a little bit of what we're going to do here, but there you go, look at that foam. Ooh, already it's starting to be really cool. But remember, what we're doing here is make sure you get to the bottom and mix those powders with the rest of the glue as best as you can. Okay, so now before we put this inside of there, let's bring back the cup that we poured the water into here with, and let's just take to the side a little bit of that borax water because we could use this a little bit later. We don't need a lot, just a little bit, okay? And this is the alternative in case you don't have a pipette, because we could still take some of the pipette and squeeze it on top of this glue once it's on there, or you could just gently pour it on. And we're gonna get back to that in just a second. But what you wanna do here is we just wanna pour this all into this cup. Now, if you just hold it, it might not work, so you just take your stick and just help it out. Here you go, don't be shy, it's okay, you can make it. And then plop. Oh, there goes my pancake. And then just take it all, just scoop it all out. Ooh, look at that, that's really foamy. And take it out like that. And here we go, as much as you can. And weird. And like I said, it's just like cooking some pancakes. You gotta let it sit on there just for a little bit on one side for just about a minute. So we're just gonna wait for just about a minute. And as we wait for about a minute, the chemicals in the borax is gonna mix with the glue, and it's gonna make it solidify so we can start to hold this without it being too sticky on our hands, because remember, this is glue. But as we're waiting on this side, we wanna put a little bit of the borax that we already put inside of this cup and kind of sprinkle it around a little bit, just like that. Or you could use your pipette and grab some. And as you can see, I'm just evenly spreading around everywhere on top of this. And as you're doing that, you're basically waiting for about a minute while you're doing this. So what's happening on the other end is that it is really reacting. The borax is reacting to our glue, making it a little bit harder so that you can start to pick it up without it being too sticky. All right, spread around some of that borax. Right? And you can use a stick. Just kind of poke it. Ooh, it feels kind of frothy. And after about a minute, you could just take this and flip it over to the other side like how you would with a pancake. Now you can use the stick, or better yet, you can use your hands, okay? Because it's not too sticky. I'm just gonna, like that, grab it, and flip it over. Now you can see, even with your hands, you can start poking this, and as you can see, it's not really sticking to this finger because the borax has reacted with the glue and it's making it nice and, holdable, I guess you could say, a little bit harder, not too sticky. And again, on the other side, as we've just flipped it over, we wait a little bit so that it reacts with our borax and our glue. Now, the point of this experiment is when you touch it, it really feels very foamy, very soft, like a pancake or a sponge cake. Oh, it feels so nice. Now, if you wait long enough, like maybe 1 or 2 minutes, then it's gonna be not as sticky and you could actually pick it up with your fingers, okay? But in the meantime, as you're waiting, you could just already play with the side that has been in the borax. Look, I'm using my fingers that weren't holding it, and you can see the glue is not really sticking to my hand with my other one, as you can see. But if it starts to stick onto there, just dip it in the borax. That way it mixes with it a little bit more. And remember, if it's just too sticky, leave it in the borax and it should be good. And once it's been in there for about a minute, then you are basically good. I'm just trying to take it off the edges here and see what that does. And Once you do that, let's try to pick this up. Look at that. Woo. It feels really, really, really spongy. It's very, very squishy. It feels, I don't know how to describe this, guys. It feels nice, but it's still not sticking to my hand. But remember, if it's sticking to your hand, leave it inside. Leave it inside. Let it soak inside of the borax. Make sure you see all of the sticky parts and make sure that that is in contact with the borax. And once it's ready, let's put it on your hand, just like that. And look, you could kind of squeeze it. No, don't squeeze it too hard, because if you squeeze it too hard, some of the glue that hasn't reacted is gonna spill out a little bit. Just gonna be a little bit sticky, no problem. But again, if it's too sticky, just leave it inside. But man, you guys are gonna really love this one once you start playing with it. But in any case, boys and girls, there is our own little polyurethane foam that we made ourselves. Pretty cool, right? Wow, that was a lot. We played with a whole bunch of really weird stuff, right? And we played with foam. We made our own polyurethane foam ourselves. Talked about gas, in which for sure it was you, not me. But anyway, I hope you guys had a lot of fun. And until next time, this is Manoa, and keep it gassy. Hey. Hey. Just want to give a big thank you to our guest scientist for today. Thank you, you did such a great job. And if you guys want to be a guest scientist, just shoot us an email and we'll see what we can do about getting you on the show with Manoa. Yeah, so just shoot us an email and then we'll see you soon.